Hi, this is Anita Arjundas, CEO and Managing Director of Mahindra Lifespaces Developers Limited. I see the Porter Prize as a very good initiative in recognizing the work done by Indian industry and therefore encouraging businesses to get a lot more strategic in the way they look at their business, in the way they look at their business models, the way they look at value propositions with respect to customers. So I think it's a very good effort at encouraging businesses to sharpen their strategy and therefore become more competitive. I think at the very primary level, we first need to look at benchmarking. There is a lot that is happening out there in the world that is definitely noteworthy for us to look at in terms of best practices. So one is really look at where we stand vis-a-vis the best in the world, and then start laying down frameworks and policies that enable implementation of best practices. So that's a very, very important factor. The second would be really a focus on innovation. As a country, we do have a rich heritage and tradition of innovation going back to centuries. We need to be able to re-harness that energy and actually be able to bring in products and services which are that much more distinctive, that much more innovative, and able to compete in a larger global context. The Indian environment is getting a lot more complex in recent times. Much like I think anywhere else in the world, you're seeing a lot more of volatility, a lot more of uncertainty. Added to that, I think, is the fact that as a country we have over the last several years not necessarily kept pace in terms of reforms, in terms of policies that we needed to put in place to be able to continue to grow at high rates, to be able to continue to be competitive. So there is in one sense some level of catching up that we also need to do to be able to be relevant to a larger world, a larger marketplace, and to be able to grow at a much faster rate. The third factor I think that's important from our point of view in terms of being competitive is the fact that we still are at fairly low per capita income levels as a country. And so growth for us is an absolute imperative. It's not something which is a luxury or something that we can afford to be at low growth rates. Accelerating to high growth rates is really going to call for competitiveness of policies, competitiveness of the administrative framework, competitiveness in terms of how the government performs, in terms of how we innovate as the corporate sector, in terms of how our workforce is employed productively. So there definitely would be fresh thinking required at all levels. The whole Make in India campaign is really pushing the bar in terms of being able to say that let us as a country produce goods and services which are of high quality, which are differentiated, which are also cost competitiveness and therefore able to cater to a larger world. And that I think is going to push a lot of thinking within industry and also within government to see how we can make the whole ecosystem more competitive, how can we make the ecosystem more friendly to be actually able to meet those objectives. So I think it will push both government and industry that much harder to look at how we can make a difference as a country.